You have a provocative view that, as you say, if you make China the enemy, they win. What do you mean by that?
Good morning, Andrew. What I mean by that is China is what it is. We don't have to love their system of government. We don't have to love their way of doing things, but we want to be able to deal with them. If we decide that they are our great power rival, like the Soviet Union was, we may find ourselves isolated, because while we're creating enmity and isolating, withdrawing, they are selling their digital infrastructure and buying commodities from everybody else in the world, all denominated in their own currency, the yuan, at the exact moment that we are piling on $5 trillion of new treasury debt this year, which has an average maturity of, at least a third of it has an average maturity of less than 1 year. So when the treasuries start to roll over, we're going to see potentially less demand for our treasuries, and everybody doing business with China, while we are potentially locked out of their consumer economy, which is on its way to becoming the largest consumer economy in the world.
So, but Daniel, look, we can debate whatever side you want to be on about China, but clearly there is bad behavior in China. There are IP issues, which we know so well about. We now have a situation where, you could take the administration's perspective if you want, you have this virus that they clearly didn't tell the world about. Whether you think it was made in a lab or not almost doesn't matter. But clearly the way they operated was not in good faith. What are you supposed to do if you're the United States then?
If you're the United States, I think that you're supposed to lead and show confidence in our system. We're a nation of individuals and a nation of market economy. We should be resuming our rightful place in world leadership and gathering our allies who have a similar worldview and, basically suggesting the terms to China for revising the WTO to allow them to participate with the rest of the world in the global trading environment. Exactly what I've been saying to you guys for the past 2 years. And it can be done. I know Joe is chomping at the bit, to yell at me because he doesn't believe it can be done. But I think that our interests still are aligned with our European allies, and this can be accomplished with some collaboration rather than isolationist policy.
Do you believe there should be any retribution at all for the way China behaved when it comes to the coronavirus?
Absolutely. But this is not the time to figure out who's responsible for what. I mean, we here in the United States are reopening the economy like it's a binary thing. We were closed, now we're reopened. And the president says we're all warriors. The commander in chief is sending us into battle with no strategy and no situational awareness. We don't have testing. We don't know antibodies. We certainly don't have cure. And everybody is responsible for managing their own risk. Nobody really even fully understands that. The reproduction rate of this virus is continuing to accelerate. Most carriers of the virus don't know that they have the virus. 60% of U.S. households have high-risk individuals in them. 40% of American adults are obese, which is a high-risk factor. And people need to understand, which is all of our responsibility. They need to make their own judgment, regardless of what the government tells them they should do, as to what risk they're prepared to assume, and how they're going to, what's the potential that they're going to bring it home to other people that they live with.
Daniel, just let's take it to the markets for 1 second because we got to run in a second. Given where the markets are right now, and given what sounds like a relatively pessimistic view, but I don't know, maybe it isn't when it comes to the markets, what would you do?
I'm not a fan of the V recovery. I don't think it's going to happen. The stimulus plan was specifically designed to provide a 3-month bridge. This is not going to be over in 3 months, and we don't have the room to even The Senate Majority Leader is observing that we don't have the room to keep on printing money and handing it out, despite the fact that AOC says, well, we should just give free rent and stop mortgage payments and everybody should just have free money. That's not going to happen. There's no V-shaped recovery because we don't have the testing capability. We don't have all the infrastructure. The China model is completely irrelevant to us because, like it or not, their society was submissive and cooperative with the surveillance requirements that are necessary in order to track people's contacts if they've been affected. And we don't have any of that in place yet. So by reopening broadly and not focusing people on how they should manage their own risks, we're going to have a very likely, I believe, a resurgence, a reacceleration of infections. And I don't think that the markets, which are assuming everything's going to be great and we're just going back to normal because that's what they've been told every single day by the administration that gets on TV and congratulates itself for what a great job it's done. People have the wrong idea about what's about to happen here.